They say when you die, your life flashes before your eyes. Mine didn't. There was no soft glow of memories, no bittersweet reel of laughter and love, just fire. And his voice, "Daddy! Daddy, please!" The last thing I saw before the smoke swallowed me whole was Michael, my husband, the man who swore to protect us, sprinting right past our son's bedroom. His arms were outstretched, but not for Liam. No, he was lunging for her door, the one at the end of the hall, the one I never noticed until that moment, because why would I? We were happy. At least, I thought we were. I died with the sound of Liam's screams still clawing at my eardrums. I died knowing Michael had chosen someone else's child over ours. And then I woke up, not in some Hurley afterlife, not in a hospital bed swathed in bandages. No, I woke up in my own damn kitchen 2 days before the fire, with the taste of burnt toast in my mouth and my phone buzzing with a text from Michael. Working late again. Don't wait up. For a second, I thought it was a nightmare. Then I saw the date. Then I heard Liam's footsteps padding down the stairs, his sleepy voice mumbling, "Mummy, can I have pancakes?" And that's when I knew. This wasn't a dream. This was a second chance. I dropped the knife I was holding. It clattered against the counter, loud enough to make Liam flinch. I couldn't stop staring at him, alive, his cheeks still round with baby fat, his pajamas covered in cartoon dinosaurs. My hands shook. I wanted to collapse. I wanted to scream. Instead, I smiled. "Of course, baby. Chocolate chip." Because here's the thing about waking up in your own past. It doesn't erase the future you remember. I could still smell the smoke. I could still feel the way my skin cracked and blistered as the flames licked closer. And most of all, I could still see Michael's face when he stumbled out of that house, Eleanor's daughter cradled in his arms like some goddamn hero. He never even looked back for Liam. So, yeah, I made the damn pancakes. I kissed Liam's forehead, and while he ate, I scrolled through Michael's call history on our shared phone plan. 3 numbers repeated. One was his office, one was his brother, and one? A contact saved as PT meeting, because apparently my husband thought I was stupid enough to believe he had physical therapy at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. I recognised the area code. It was the same one Elena lived in. The toaster popped, Liam giggled. And right then, with syrup sticky on my fingers and revenge simmering in my chest, I made a decision. This time, I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't cry. This time, I'd let Michael dig his own grave. And I'd make sure he had the perfect view when I pushed him in. The first lie I caught him in was about the coffee. Michael always took his black. No sugar, no cream, just bitter and scalding, the way he preferred most things in life. But that morning, as I watched him shrug on his coat by the door, I noticed the faintest smear of caramel-coloured liquid at the bottom of his travel mug. "You made me coffee?" he asked, surprised when I handed it to him. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Of course," I said, sweet as poison honey. "Extra sweet today, just how you like it." His fingers tightened around the mug. A flicker of confusion, then guilt so quick I almost missed it. But I didn't, because now I was watching. The old Jennifer would have brushed it off. The old Jennifer believed him when he said business dinners ran late, when he claimed the perfume on his collar was from a co-worker's hug. But the old Jennifer burned to ash in that fire. This version of me, she noticed things, like how Michael's phone never left his pocket anymore, how he'd started showering the second he got home, as if water could scrub away the scent of her, how he'd pause sometimes, mid-sentence, like he was mentally rewinding to make sure he hadn't slipped up. The worst part wasn't the lies. It was how easy they were for him. I tested him. Small things at first. "Did you transfer the money for Liam's tuition?" I asked over dinner, even though I'd already handled it. "Of course," he said without looking up from his steak. Liar. I let my foot brush against his under the table. He flinched. The man who used to sneak his hands under my shirt while I washed dishes now recoiled from a casual touch. Pathetic. But the real masterpiece, the way he still thought he was in control. "You're quiet today," he murmured that night, his breath warm against my neck as he feigned sleepiness. An act? A performance? "Just tired," I lied back, staring at the ceiling. In the dark, I counted every betrayal. The way he'd kissed Liam's forehead but didn't stay to read him a story. The way he'd checked his phone 3 times during bath time. The way he'd sighed when I asked him to take out the trash, like the mundane chore of living with us was some unbearable burden. Each one a paper cut, each one proof. By the time his breathing evened out beside me, I'd made a list. Not of questions, of consequences. Dawn was bleeding through the curtains when I finally moved from our bed. Michael's sleeping form looked almost innocent in the pale light, the way his lashes fluttered, the soft part of his lips. I used to love watching him sleep. Now I just counted the ways I could destroy him. The hotel confirmation still glowed on his laptop screen. The Grand Marquis, room 412. Tonight, under the name Smith. How original. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. The old me would have wept, would have confronted him, would have demanded explanations like some lovesick fool begging for scraps of truth. But fire changes you. I didn't wake him, didn't smash the laptop, didn't even delete the reservation. Instead, I made a copy of the confirmation. Then, I checked Liam's backpack for school, making sure his permission slip was signed, his lunch money tucked in the front pocket. The mundane details of motherhood now sharpened to a razor's edge. In the shower, I let the water scald my skin as I planned. 72 hours until the fire. Every minute needed to count. Michael emerged yawning as I was pouring coffee. "You're up early," he said, pressing a kiss to my temple. His lips felt like a brand. "Big day," I said, handing him his mug. Black this time. No sweetness, no pretense. I watched his throat work as he swallowed. Noticed the way his wedding band caught the light. Still there. Still a lie. "You okay?" he asked, his brow furrowing in that way that used to make my heart flutter. Now it just made my fingers twitch toward the knife block. "Perfect," I lied smoothly. "Just thinking about that wiring issue in Liam's room you promised to fix." His expression didn't change. Not exactly, but something shifted behind his eyes, a shadow passing over still water. "This weekend," he promised. We both knew he was lying. The school bus honked outside. I kissed Liam goodbye, lingering a second too long, breathing in the strawberry shampoo and crayon smell of him. Alive, warm, mine. As the door closed behind him, I turned to find Michael watching me. There was something new in his gaze, a flicker of unease, like he sensed the ground shifting beneath him but couldn't see the fault lines. Good. Let him wonder. I grabbed my keys from the hook. "Have a good day at work, honey." The endearment tasted like ash. The garage door hadn't even finished closing before I was dialing a number I'd memorized in another lifetime. The electrician who'd accidentally messed up our wiring. His voice was gruff when he answered. "About that job next week," I said, watching Michael's car disappear down the street. "I'd like to make some changes to the plans." Because here's the thing about Rebirth. It doesn't just give you a second chance. It gives you the advantage of foresight. And I intended to use every damn second of it. Her house smelled like lavender and hypocrisy. I sat in my car across from 214 Maple Drive, watching through the bay window as Eleanor moved about her kitchen. She was smaller than I'd imagined. Petite in that delicate way men find so appealing. Her dark hair swept up in a messy bun that probably took 30 minutes to look that casually perfect. The electrician's invoice had given me her address. A little digging revealed the rest. Eleanor Marie Vasquez, 32, divorced, worked in pediatric nursing. The kind of woman people described as sweet and selfless. The kind of woman who fucked married men while their son slept down the hall. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Stuck at office? Don't wait up for dinner. I watched Eleanor check her own phone, the way her mouth curved when she read the screen. The same smile I'd seen 1,000 times. Directed at me, at Liam, at our wedding photos. Now, I knew what it really meant. Her daughter came bouncing into the kitchen then, a tiny thing with Michael's exact nose. My stomach clenched. How long had this been going on? Long enough for playdates and family dinners while I sat home believing his overtime lies? I followed them to the park, watched from a distance as Eleanor pushed the girl on swings, her laughter carrying across the grass. She looked like the picture of maternal devotion, until her phone rang. Her entire body changed when she answered, shoulders softening, voice dropping to that intimate murmur I recognized too well. Michael's mistress. The knowledge settled in my bones like shrapnel. I could have confronted her then, could have marched across that playground and slapped the smug affection right off her face. But that would have been too easy. Too quick. Instead, I took photos of her house, her car, her daughter's school pickup routine. Every detail mattered now. When they left the park, I tailed them to an upscale grocery store. Eleanor browsed the organic produce while her daughter begged for cookies. I watched her fill her cart with Michael's favourite wine, the expensive steak he claimed his boss always ordered at dinners. The pieces clicked together with terrible clarity. This wasn't some cheap motel affair. This was a second life. A second family. While I'd been clipping coupons and packing school lunches, he'd been playing house with her. My hand shook around the steering wheel as I drove past their old love letters in my mind. Michael's late nights, his sudden business trips, the way he'd started criticising my cooking last year. Eleanor makes this amazing coq au vin. He'd actually said that to me, bragged about her cooking in my own kitchen. The audacity took my breath away. As I pulled away from the curb, my phone lit up with a calendar notification. Liam's parent-teacher conference, 3 p.m. Michael had promised to be there. I knew exactly where he'd really be. The blueprint spread across our dining table told a story of calculated destruction. I traced the electrical lines with my fingernail, following the path the fire would take, had taken in that other life. The master bedroom first, then the hallway, then Liam's room with its single window that always stuck in summer. A perfect death trap disguised as bad luck. My hands didn't shake as I photographed each page. They should have. Any normal mothers would have. But normal mothers don't know how their children scream when burning alive. The contractor's invoice fluttered to the floor. J. Callaway Electrical, service request, circuit overhaul, $4,200, paid in cash, approved by Michael. Dated 3 days before our deaths. I'd found it buried in his golf bag, tucked between scorecards from games he'd never actually played. The same hiding spot he'd used for anniversary gifts back when he still bothered to pretend. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Whitmore. The electrician at my doorstep had grease under his nails and the tired eyes of someone who'd seen too much and asked too little. Your husband said you needed urgent work. I smiled the way Elena might have. Come in, Mr. Callaway. Let me show you exactly what needs to be rewired. He followed me to the breaker box, his tool belt clinking with every step. I watched his face carefully as I pointed out the problem areas, the same ones marked on his own damned blueprint. His throat worked when he saw Liam's room, highlighted in yellow. Funny, I murmured, leaning close enough to smell his sweat. These look like intentional weak points. His Adam's apple bobbed. Ma'am, I just follow the work orders. Of course you do. I pressed a check into his palm. $5,000, more than he'd made from Michael. I'd like you to follow mine now. The silence stretched as he read my handwritten instructions. His head snapped up. "This is a better deal than prison offers." I held up my phone, his incriminating invoice glowing on screen. "Unless you'd prefer explaining to arson investigators why you took cash to rig a child's bedroom." His tools clattered to the floor. By sunset, the house hummed with new wiring. My wiring. The kind that wouldn't fail when needed. The kind that could be redirected. I tested the smoke alarms as Calloway packed up, watching through the nursery monitor as Liam built Lego towers in his room. Safe. For now. One last thing. I blocked the electrician's path to the door, pressing a second check into his shaking hand. When my husband calls to confirm his original plans, Calloway's nod came too fast. I'll tell him everything's set. Good man. I closed the door behind him, the deadbolt clicking like a gun cocking. Outside, twilight painted the neighbourhood in violent oranges and reds, the colours of fire, of warning. I texted Michael. Electrician came early. All fixed. 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Finally, great. Home by 8. Liar. I knew exactly where he'd be at 8 p.m, knew exactly when the fire would start. And now, thanks to Mr. Calloway's reluctant cooperation, I knew exactly how to make sure it burned who it was supposed to. Elena's morning coffee tasted wrong today. I watched from my car as she spat the first sip into her sink, her pretty face twisting in confusion. She checked the expiration date on the creamer, unaware that the bitterness came from the 3 drops of ipecac I'd slipped into her milk carton when she'd left it unattended at the grocery store. Small punishments, easily dismissed. Her phone buzzed with my first anonymous text. "Does he tell you you're beautiful before or after he lies to his wife?" I saw the colour drain from her face through her kitchen window. Michael's office received the next volley. A lavish bouquet of lilies, his mistress's favourite, delivered with a card. "Thanks for last night. Can't wait to do it again." His secretary's raised eyebrow would be the first of many. At home, I rearranged Michael's closet with surgical precision, moving his ties half an inch to the left, rotating his shoe rack 90 degrees. Tiny disturbances to make him question his sanity. By dinner, he'd checked the security cameras twice. "Did you go through my things?" he asked, swirling his wine like he could read the truth in the tannins. I blinked, all wide-eyed innocence. "Why? Is something missing?" His jaw worked, the lie stuck in his throat. I served him overcooked steak, exactly how Elena prepared it, and watched him force down every bite without complaint. The realization dawning in his eyes tasted better than revenge. She told me. She knows. That night, while he pretended to sleep, I whispered into the darkness, "Do you ever think about how easily houses burn down?" His breathing hitched, just once. The next morning, Eleanor's daughter found a scorched photograph in her backpack. A wedding photo of Michael and me, half burned with the words, "Daddy lies," scrawled across my smiling face in red marker. The school called Michael in a panic. I answered instead. "Children have such vivid imaginations," I soothed, watching through the window as Eleanor sped toward the elementary school, her car swerving through traffic. Though I wonder where she learned about fire? Michael came home early that day. His hands shook as he poured whiskey, the bottle clinking against the glass like a countdown. "You've been quiet," he tried, his voice too careful. I smiled, running a finger along the rim of my own untouched drink. "Just thinking about how fragile life is. One spark," I met his eyes, "and everything changes." His glass shattered on the floor. I didn't help clean it up. Midnight painted the house in shades of vengeance as I moved through the shadows. The fire extinguisher by the stairs, gone. The emergency ladder in Liam's closet, relocated. Every adjustment precise, every modification invisible to the untrained eye. I hummed while I worked. The tune the same lullaby I'd sung to Liam as a baby. now repurposed as a funeral march for Michael's conscience. The gas cans in the garage still smelled new. I ran my fingers along their smooth sides, remembering how easily flesh blisters. These wouldn't be used tonight. Oh, no, that would be too obvious. But their presence would explain so much when investigators came asking questions later. Upstairs, Liam slept with his dinosaur clutched to his chest, blissfully unaware of how close death had once come. I adjusted the baby monitor on his dresser, ensuring the camera caught every angle of his room. Let the world see where Michael's priorities truly lay when the flames came calling. The real masterpiece waited in the walls. Calloway's rewiring job had been artfully sabotaged, just enough to fail spectacularly, but only where I wanted. The fault line ran straight to the master bedroom with a convenient detour past Michael's home office. His precious golf trophies would make excellent kindling. I paused at our wedding photo on the hallway wall. The glass reflected my face back at me, a stranger with fire in her eyes. My thumbnail dug into Michael's smiling face, leaving a jagged scratch across his two perfect teeth. The basement lockbox opened with a satisfying click. Passports, cash, the keys to a storage unit Michael didn't know existed. I added Liam's favourite stuffed animal and his allergy medication to the duffel bag already packed there. Sentimentality had no place in what came next, but preparedness did. My phone buzzed with Eleanor's latest desperate text to Michael. "We need to talk. The school called about..." I deleted the notification unread. The digital clock on the microwave flipped to 2:37 a.m. In exactly 18 hours, the dinner casserole would be in the oven. Michael would be working late at Eleanor's, and the first tendrils of smoke would curl from our bedroom vents. I climbed into our empty bed, smoothing the cold sheets where my husband should have been. The pillow still held the faint scent of his cologne. That expensive bergamot and sandalwood blend Eleanor probably bought him. My alarm was set for 6 a.m, just enough time to make pancakes before school, to kiss Liam's sleepy forehead, to play the perfect mother one last time. As sleep pulled me under, I imagined the sound of fire alarms screaming through the house. This time, I'd be the one controlling the narrative. This time, the flames would lick at the right doors. Smoke curled from the bedroom vents at precisely 8:17 p.m. I timed it perfectly, between Liam's bedtime story and Michael's usual just leaving the office lie. The first tendrils crept along the ceiling like grey fingers, testing, probing. The new smoke detectors remained silent. My design. Down the hall, Liam slept peacefully, his nightlight casting dinosaur shadows on walls that wouldn't burn tonight. I dosed his warm milk with just enough children's Benadryl to keep him sleeping through the chaos. His little chest rose and fell, blissfully unaware he was the prize in this deadly game. The fire spread faster than I'd anticipated. Flames licked up our bedroom curtains, hungrily devouring the fabric. Heat pulsed through the house in waves, warping the family photos in their frames. I stood in the hallway between two doors, Liam's room to my left, the master bedroom to my right, and waited. Tyres screeched outside. Michael came crashing through the front door, his shirt buttoned wrong, his hair still damp from Eleanor's shower. His eyes locked onto mine, wide with panic. "Where's Liam?" "Safe," I said calmly, stepping aside so he could see our son's untouched door. Relief flooded his face, right before the ceiling in our bedroom collapsed with a roar. Flames surged into the hallway. That's when the screaming started from upstairs. Eleanor's voice. Michael's head snapped toward the sound. I saw the exact moment he realised. She must have followed him, must have been waiting in the car, must have come inside when she saw the smoke. His body tense, poised to run. Not toward Liam, never toward Liam. "Choose," I said softly. The word hung between us as the fire crackled. 1 heartbeat, 2. Then he was moving, sprinting past me, past our son's room, toward the stairs where Eleanor screamed his name, just like last time. My fingers closed around the remote in my pocket. The emergency deadbolts engaged with a satisfying thunk throughout the house. The security cameras captured every frame as Michael reached the stairs just as they became impassable. Eleanor's terrified face appeared at the top landing. "Michael, the baby, she's in the guest room." His head whipped toward me, realization dawning. "Jennifer, please." I met his gaze without blinking. "You made your choice." The fire roared between us, a living thing now, feeding on secrets and betrayal. I turned my back on my husband's screams and walked calmly to Liam's room. The last thing I heard before closing his door was Elena sobbing Michael's name, the same way I'd once screamed for our son. The house could burn. The truth would survive. The firefighters' axes shattered the front door just as I reached Liam's window. I cradled his sleeping body against my chest, his breath warm on my neck as I kicked out the screen. Night air rushed in, sweet with oxygen, a stark contrast to the acrid smoke coiling up the stairs behind us. The modified fire escape ladder unrolled silently, my midnight project finally put to use. Sirens wailed below as we descended. Flames licked through our bedroom window above, casting flickering shadows that made Liam's eyelashes flutter. He murmured something unintelligible, still swimming in medicated dreams, unaware that his father was currently clawing at a locked attic door 3 floors above. My bare feet hit the dew-wet grass. Chaos erupted around us, neighbours spilling onto lawns, news vans arriving too quickly to be coincidental, a paramedic rushing toward us with a foil blanket. I clutched Liam tighter, letting my hands tremble just enough to sell the performance. "Where's your husband?" the firefighter shouted over the roar. I turned my face toward the inferno that had been our home, letting the flames reflect in my eyes. He ran back inside when he realized Elena was still up there. The ripple of shock through the crowd was almost palpable. As they scrambled to assemble rescue teams, I slipped into the back of an ambulance with Liam, watching through the open doors as the second floor collapsed in a shower of sparks. The cameras would have caught everything. The locked doors, the diverted flames. Michael's choice. Let them call me a survivor. Let them call him a hero. The truth would burn brighter than any fire. By dawn, the world knew Michael for what he was. The security footage went viral before the embers stopped glowing. Grainy black and white images of him sprinting past Liam's door, of Elena's desperate hands clawing at the attic window, of the exact moment the locks engaged. News anchors replayed it on loop with horrified fascination, their pitying voices dissecting our tragedy between car commercials and weather reports. I sat in the sterile hotel suite the Red Cross had provided, watching myself become a hashtag. #Poor Jennifer trended beneath videos of Michael emerging from the smoke. Eleanor's daughter clutched to his soot-streaked chest. The caption read, "Hero Dad Saves Child," until someone circled the timestamp showing he'd left Liam behind for a full 3 minutes first. The internet did the rest. Elena's Instagram became a digital crime scene overnight. Every vacation photo, every blessed post scrutinized for clues. Someone matched the wallpaper in her brunch selfies to Michael's blurred background on a business Zoom call. A dental hygienist in Ohio recognized his wristwatch in her #date night post from Valentine's Day, when he'd told me he was at a sales conference in Denver. My phone buzzed non-stop with interview requests. I ignored them all, focusing instead on the single notification that mattered, the email from the fire investigator with the subject line, "Intentional wiring alterations." Across the room, Liam coloured quietly, his crayons moving across the page in happy, oblivious strokes. The hotel TV played muted footage of Michael being discharged from the hospital into a swarm of cameras. A reporter shoved a microphone in his face. "Why did you prioritise saving Elena Vasquez's child over your own son?" His mouth opened, closed. That handsome face I'd loved for a decade crumpled under the weight of a million watching eyes. I muted the TV and opened my laptop to the draft I'd prepared. a GoFundMe for survivors of spousal betrayal, linking to the electrician's sworn affidavit about Michael's original wiring request. The donation counter climbed faster than the fire had spread. Let him try to explain that to the arson investigators. Let the whole world watch him burn. Elena found me at the Starbucks near the courthouse 2 days before Michael's arraignment. She looked hollowed out, the kind of tired that no amount of concealer could mask. The diamond studs Michael had given her were gone, leaving angry, red holes in her earlobes. When she slid into the seat across from me, her hands didn't shake. They clenched around her latte like she wanted to crush the cup. "You knew," she said, not an accusation, a confession. I sipped my chamomile tea, letting the silence stretch. The security cameras above the register whirred softly. Good. Let them record this. "He took out a life insurance policy on you," she blurted. $500,000. He said it was standard that all executives at his firm... Her voice cracked. I believed him. Of course she had. Michael had a gift for making women feel special right up until he destroyed them. I pushed a manila envelope across the table. Inside, bank statements showing transfers to Elena's account, all from an offshore holding company. Your tuition payments, your mortgage. I tapped a highlighted line. The Mercedes lease. Her breath hitched. I didn't know it came from the same account that paid the electrician. I finished. Funny coincidence. The colour drained from her face. She understood now why the police kept asking about her involvement, why the media painted her as the scheming mistress. Michael had made sure the money trail led straight to her doorstep. I'll testify, she said suddenly, about the insurance policy, the wiring, all of it. Her manicured nails dug into the envelope. He told me you were cold, that Liam would be better off with us. The admission should have hurt. Instead, it felt like the final piece clicking into place. By the time Elena walked out, she'd given me everything I needed. Dates, times, even the password to Michael's hidden email account. The one where he'd discussed permanent solutions with a shady PI 2 weeks before the fire. I texted the district attorney as her taillights disappeared. New evidence coming. Check the beneficiary forms. Let Michael see how quickly his lover's devotion turned to venom. Let him learn what happens when the woman who knows all your secrets decides to share them. The prison visitation room smelled like bleach and bad decisions. Michael sat across from me, his orange jumpsuit hanging loose where arrogance used to fill it out. 3 weeks in county jail had erased his tan, leaving behind the pallor of a man who'd finally run out of lies. His lawyer hovered nearby, clutching a plea deal that would give him 20 years if he confessed to attempted murder. He still thought he could win. You look tired, I said, pushing a photo of Liam across the table. Our son grinned back at us from his first day at a new school, the Swiss Alps visible through the classroom window. Michael's fingers twitched toward the image. Where is he? Somewhere you'll never find us. I leaned closer, lowering my voice to a whisper only he could hear. Just like you'll never find the original security footage. His lawyer stiffened. What's she talking about, Michael? I answered for him. The unedited version shows him testing the bedroom door locks before the fire started. Funny thing is, I tapped my nails against the table. That part somehow got cut from the news broadcasts. Michael's pupils dilated. He understood now. The real trap hadn't been the fire. It was letting him think he could still control the narrative. I slid another document toward his lawyer. A notarized copy of the life insurance policy. Check the signature date. The lawyer's eyes widened. This was taken out 6 months before he even met Eleanor. Funny how that works. I stood straightening my blazer. Turns out, my husband didn't just want me dead. He wanted it to look like his mistress did it. Michael lunged across the table. Guards tackled him as his screams echoed off the cinder block walls. Not denial, not even anger. but raw, animal panic. The sound of a man realizing he'd been outplayed at his own game. Outside, spring sunshine warmed my face as reporters swarmed. Microphones jabbed toward me, voices shouting questions about forgiveness, closure, moving on. I paused at the top of the courthouse steps, letting them see the woman Michael had underestimated one last time. "Some fires keep burning long after the flames go out," I said softly, then walked away without another word. The cameras followed, of course. Let them. I had a plane to catch.